Caitlin, and we are coming at you from the same room today. We're not in different states right now. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're actually on take 5 at the moment.
We have the giggles from being in the same room
So sorry.
together.
But today we are discussing Sanctuary of the Shadow by Aurora Ascher. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because we just did an interview with her at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so go listen to that if you haven't already. She talks about this book and some of the other books she's written. So it's a really cool discussion that we have with her. But with this book, I'm going to start us off like I normally do, just reading the back of the book from Goodreads. It says, "Some follow their destiny, others fall for it. For humans, Salazar's is a place of mystery and wonder. For Harrow, it's a place to hide from those who slaughtered her entire clan, a haven where she can disguise both her abilities and who she really is. Until he arrives. He has no recollection of who or even what he is. He only knows that he's a monster with wings and powerful abilities never seen before. But beneath the layers of rage and isolation, one glimpse into those inky black eyes reveals a soul that calls out to the loneliness in Harrow, and so she chooses him. She is drawn to the mystery of him, her unquenchable need for his kiss. And as powerful enemies align and conspire against them, Harrow knows their only hope is escape. Now, with every secret she unlocks from his past, a shadow from her own whispers free, luring enemies who will stop at nothing to get their final revenge on Harrow. And she's given them the perfect weapon because her winged beast is not what he seems. But maybe it's time they finally learn. Neither is she."
Major slay. Also, this book has the most beautiful cover and like page bindings I've ever seen. So if you haven't purchased it like in physical copy, you should.
It would
It's
look really good on your shelf.
so pretty.
It's very pretty.
So, what would you rate this book?
So I would rate this book like a 7.75 out of 10. And we're going to kind of break down the things that we liked and things that we didn't like as much about the book. But I think it was solid. I was entertained. But, we'll kind of talk about the things specifically that made it not like a perfect 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine's probably about the same, like a 7.68 out of 10. It was really, really good. It was a debut novel. I love, anything circus themed. I loved the idea of like a brand new Shadow Daddy for all of us to love.
Soleil.
There were some side characters in here that I also thought were just a really, really like well-rounded like addition to the book.
Yes.
But again, there were some things that maybe I didn't like as much that are my own personal dislikes when it comes to books. So
Yeah, we just have like our own like tropes that aren't our favorite. But just to kind of like give a little background, like basically in this world, there was like a war with these like elemental queens they're pretty much goddesses because they're like extremely powerful. And they had this war between themselves and basically have like abandoned their people who are called elementals, and they have like magical powers from these queens. So it's basically a world of humans pitted against elementals. The humans think that they're evil and horrible. So the circus that this guy named Salazar owns is kind of like a safe haven for people with elemental powers. And that's kind of the vibe. It's like this magical circus. They travel around, and like some humans are really hateful and horrible. Some humans will like come enjoy the show. But yeah, like that's kind of the setting.
So we'll talk about some of the characters in this book. So we'll start with Harrow. She is our main female character of this first book. So Harrow is a seer. Her family and her clan were slaughtered when she was very young, and she escaped and went to live with Salazar at his circus, and has since, pretended to be a human who does fortune telling. She deceives rich married women into like giving her a bunch of money to do just really basic like
Yeah.
readings and stuff for him. But
Every once in a while, she'll slip in something that's like a little crazy. Like she told one lady she was like pregnant.
yeah, and then yeah, and she was, and she's like, let me tell all my best friends
Yeah.
about you. But she's just very content to live like her very quiet life. Doesn't really, get out too much just based off of her fear of being found out.
Yeah.
Wants to, hide who she truly is. which is a badass seer, and they live for a very, very long time. So she's been with the
Yes.
she's been with the circus for a while.
Yeah, and then she's like, man, people are gonna catch on that I'm not aging like a
Yes.
human. So she's already kind of like, my cover is gonna not last forever. But at least it would be, she would be among other elementals. So I think she's
She's
kind
just
of
like
like,
the last
it'll
of
be
her
okay.
kind, and so she doesn't want them to find out in case it puts her in
Yeah,
danger.
like pick her off, basically. But Harrow, throughout the book, she's got a really great personality. I would say she's pretty independent and headstrong,
But she's
and
not a dick
maintains
about
that.
it.
Yeah, she's not a dick. She's very compassionate, and she is really good friends with Malika, who works in the circus as well. We'll talk more about her, but I really love their friendship. I think they bring a good balance to each other because they're both like really good friends to each other, but they both have such different personalities and strengths. And for Harrow, hers, I would say, is like her compassion for
Yeah.
sure.
And I also just love that, she takes what she wants.
Oh yeah.
Like with Wraith, like she's like, I'm attracted
I
to
want
this
this man.
this creature, and I know what I want, so I'm gonna go for it, and it was for the better.
Or Harrow is just like us. She sees a man who like only speaks 2 words and she's like, that's the hottest
yeah,
thing I've ever
you're
seen.
coming home with me.
Um,
We're getting out of here.
so Harrow, she is connected to water, like through the water queen named Daria, and she keeps dreaming of water and particularly like the deep, dark portion of water. And then eventually, like whenever she gets to know Wraith, she's like doing a reading for him in secret, and she draws the card that's like the deep. And so she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so connected to this man.
But
We
she's
must
also
be
very
soulmates."
scared because she keeps trying to convince himself, like, I'm relying on my gut here. She's like, my instincts never lied to me. He's
Hmm.
different. He's not a wraith. He's not a bad creature. And then when she pulls deep, she's like, well,
She's like, "Oh,
maybe.
is everybody telling me the
And she's like,
truth?"
maybe he is, but also I'm gonna still rely on my gut because I don't think that's true.
It's never steered her wrong before.
And she was right. Her instincts were telling the truth.
Yeah, so let's talk about Wraith because first of all, he gets his name Raith because this guy misspells Wraith on a sign.
Lauren's a fucking dumb idiot.
So, like, Salazar, he knows what he is. He's like, this dude's a Wraith. He's responsible for killing the Seers. And Harrow doesn't know this, of course.
She's like, no, he's not.
Yeah, and when he tries to tell her, she's like, "Nuh-uh." But he wakes up with no memories in the desert, gets like immediately kidnapped and sold to Salazar.
Like, didn't even have a chance to fucking breathe.
Yeah, like he could not fight back because he was so weak from whatever had happened to him. So basically, he immediately gets taken to the circus, and then Harrow is like, "Oh, like who are you?" Because like her like powers are basically pulling her towards him. And so she really likes him. He really likes her, and she's like, "I'm gonna break you out of this cage." And the other thing about Wraith that ends up pissing us off later in the book is like, as soon as Harrow like learns that he did actually like murder the Seers, he basically is like, okay, well that's it then. I'm going on a suicide mission. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, yeah.
Like, good, best of luck, I guess. But the
He
reason
immediately gives up.
we do find out later, the reason they're like so drawn to each other and like he's so open to her is because they are mates, they're soulmates, and they're meant to be together.
He like spared her.
Yes.
Like basically he knew when he saw her.
They had a deep connection.
Yeah, he was like, I cannot murder this person.
Which was also like a little weird.
It was. Because she was a child.
She was 10.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know what this connection is, but I'm gonna leave you here just in case. And
It's
then later on,
Jacob from Twilight.
yeah, and then later on, he's like, "Oh, it's because I was in love." I'm like,
It's because I wanna fuck you.
No, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to do that when she was a child.
No, just to be so clear.
Yeah, like he just knew they had like a deeper connection somehow.
Yeah, like something like broke him from his, because like with him, when he makes a vow to his fire queen Fury, when he makes a vow, he has to follow it. Like it goes against every instinct in him to break his vow. And so whatever like made him hesitate from killing Harrow, he knew it had to be
like a deep protective.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first time I read it, I was like, this probably could be taken the wrong way.
Yeah, it definitely could. But just so we are all on the same
So
page.
we're
It was
being
not written in
so
a weird
clear.
way.
Yeah.
Um, Malika is Harrow's best friend, and
I love her.
she is one of my favorite
Love
characters.
her.
She's a
She's so
Black Panther
fiery.
hybrid. Yes, she's got like this really like sassy, fiery, like stands up for what she believes
Yeah.
in. Doesn't matter.
She's
If she's
willing
wrong,
to,
she doesn't care. She's gonna
yeah.
double down.
And she's willing to back like Harrow up regardless. She's like, oh, you want to do this crazy thing and flee the circus? All right, girl, I'll make it happen.
Yeah, she literally risks her own safety because Malika comes from like a kingdom that basically got overthrown. Her family got slaughtered as well. And so she's basically also living and hiding in this circus. And
Just in case someone's there to come after her next.
yeah, yeah, Harrow and Malika are both like wanted women. And she
Also,
really puts her safety to the wayside to
I
help.
think it's so sweet that they go and like watch each other perform. Like
Oh,
Harrow
yeah.
like watches her like do her act every single
Yeah,
night. I thought that was very
that
sweet.
is very cute.
But their ride or dies.
Those are real besties, if you ask me.
I do think I have a theory that Malika's going to be in book 2. I think it's going to focus more on her and her journey back to her kingdom to take back what's rightfully hers. I hope it's about that because I am so intrigued.
Yeah, we do at least know Aurora confirmed like she is like the focus at least. Like basically it's going to be about her. We just don't really know. And
The
I'm
details.
hoping that Oro is involved as well.
Yes.
So
Let's talk about Oro really quick.
let's talk about him.
I've never been more obsessed with a person so fast in my life. I don't
It was
think
on site.
it
Like
was
it
like
was
maybe
love at
insta
first
love
sight.
is real
Yeah, instant love
because
is, yeah.
he could do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, he's a snake hybrid. He's the leader of the Ouroboros elemental gang. So he's a mob boss.
Yeah, he's like a crime
Um
underlord.
yeah,
It's
and I'm
hot.
like, that's exactly right up my alley.
Yeah, so he kind of like intercepts Malika because he's looking for Harrow and Wraith for the Ether Queen named Nashira, who he actually knows as the Oracle. So basically, he's like on a mission to find them, and he intercepts Malika because he knows that she's probably going to lead him right to her. And so Malika's like, "No, I don't know who you're talking about. Get out of my face."
Get out of here. And he's like, I'm gonna get closer to your face. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
Oh
God.
my God. Yeah. So they're a sleigh. I
I
want
didn't
them
think I'd
together.
ever I didn't think I was into bald men, but here we are.
That's the thing is like,
Snake hybrid?
I don't think I've ever
Delicious.
had a fictional character that's bald that I've been like, yeah, that
Like,
one.
I'm into that.
But it's him. This is the one. Then we also have Salazar, of course, the owner of the circus, who he's an elemental as well. He has like this like lightning rod
It's like a
thing.
wizard stick.
Yeah, it has like his powers in it.
What am I? That's a staff?
A staff, yeah. A wizard stick. So he is an emissary to Queen Audra, who's the air queen, and he's basically been tasked to take in all of the elementals and shelter them for her. So that's his
Kind of
doing.
like mixed feelings about him.
Yeah, because like he thinks
Um,
he's doing what's right, but
in a way, like he does take care of these elementals, but he
Mhm.
does also profit
Yes, he
off
does.
of it. So like it is
But
a
he
mutually
also has
beneficial
to like he has to like make money to like
keep it
shelter
going
them and
and
feed
yeah.
them. So I
But
get
he's
it.
also like not very nice.
No, he's kind of a dick, but he really does try to take care of his own. And then we have the queens. So Daria is the water queen who Harrow gets her powers from. And she is straight up beefing, like in this war between the queens, she was beefing with Fury, her sister, the Fire Queen, and she like killed Fury's human lover. And
Yeah.
Fury unleashed an entire army of
But he was
wraiths.
also like evil. Like he was twisted in the head, like not a good person.
Yeah, so don't feel too bad for him. But yeah, that's why Fury created the Wraiths, and then as revenge against Daria, she unleashed the Wraiths to go kill all of the Seers.
Which seemed like
Pretty fucked
really,
up.
yeah, like a little extreme, but again, she's also not quite right. Like there's something that has just festered deeply
She is
within her.
unhinged.
She's scary. And then we do have okay, so we already talked about Fury, she's mother of Wraiths. We have Nashira, who is the Oracle, also known as the Ether Queen. She employs the travelers, they can teleport. She's crazy as fuck.
Yeah, she's like
Little
she's
weirdo.
giving Elaine from
Yeah, like just
Akawar.
very aloof. And I think she's so deep into like seeing like all the timelines and every, possible outcome that it probably does drive her
It
crazy.
fried her brain a little bit.
But in her moments of clarity, she is terrifying.
Yeah, she's they're all kind of scary.
They're scary. And then you do have Audra and Tira, which we don't really know a ton about.
Yeah.
They kind of remain on neutral sides until Daria needs them.
They are the reasons that the elementals have their powers, and so
Yeah.
all of the elementals are very connected to like their
Specific
their mother
queens.
queen, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, Daria always refers to Harrow as like her daughter,
Mhm.
because she does create all the seers. So in a way, she's mother.
She's mummy.
She's mummy.
So let's kind of go through the specific things that we loved and then maybe some of the things that were not our favorite. And we'll start with the things that we loved.
So, and I talked to Aurora about this on the interview as well. The cookie scene in the beginning of the book. So, Harrow brings Wraith some cookies and he's never had anything like that before. And so when he eats it, he's like obsessed. And it's just like a cute little bonding moment between the two of them where she fully understands like he's not a complete monster. And so they just eat cookies in silence because he can't talk or anything. And she reads to him and
cute.
it was just so wholesome.
Yeah, the only thing that was like depressing about it is the fact that he was in a cage.
Yeah, he was locked up.
Everything about it was very cute.
But she was trying to make a bad situation better.
Yeah, and she succeeded.
It was very nice.
Another scene that I really loved is the scene when we first meet Oro. Like the charisma and the chemistry is just off the chart.
Us up through the pages.
Yes, like he just immediately he shows up and you're like, I want him. Like he's got an energy about him. I really liked the flirting with Malika.
The tension.
Oh my God, he calls her kitty cat.
I was like, stop it right now.
The other thing, like just kind of branching off of the cookie scene and how Harrow like read to him to fill the silence. Something that's really like sweet. Well, first of all, it's sad because Wraith doesn't know why. He doesn't have memories at the time. And so he doesn't know why he's like afraid to speak out loud. But the reason is because Fury, like the way that she controls the Wraiths is by getting them to make vows to her by speaking. And so he's literally afraid to speak. But he does talk for Harrow. It's very limited, but he will talk for her. And it's very cute that he like overcomes that fear basically.
Well, and also like you can tell like he knows he can trust her because like she was like, you have to promise not to like hurt me or like run away or anything like that. And he does. He does promise, even though he knows like it doesn't feel right to do so.
Yeah.
But he also knows like she won't use that against him.
Oh my God. That was so cute. I loved that part.
It was really cute.
To be fair, she also was like forcing him to promise not to murder people.
Yeah, she's like, you cannot kill him.
And he was like, okay, goddamn. Like, okay. Okay, so another thing I loved about this book is that this story is told in almost like a folklore kind of style. And by that, I kind of mean, have you ever read
like
The Alchemist?
Omniscient.
Yeah, I mean, technically it was from Harrow's perspective, I feel. Well, was it though? I don't think it was even. No, it was third person. But have you read The Alchemist?
No.
Okay. It's kind of like an older book, obviously. But
I know what it is. Yeah,
it has like a vibe to it where it's not super detailed, but the way that it's told, it's almost like it's just been passed down. Like
we're like
the
sitting
heart
around
of
a
the story.
campfire. Like
yeah. Where it's not like we're not going through like super detailed accounts of what happened. It's like it's being passed down through generations. So I thought that was kind of the vibe I was getting from it, and I liked that about this book.
Me personally, I loved how the spice came through
It
at the
did.
beginning. She did not waste time. Okay. Like we get out there, like they escape, they find themselves in that inn, and she was like, you know what? Let's get down to business if you're cool with this.
Yeah, because
She's
she was
like,
like, what else are we gonna
I
do?
will teach you the ways of pleasure. And
And I gotta say, he didn't need to be taught.
he knew.
He knew what to
He
do.
done knew what needed to be done.
Instinct took over. And then the other thing that we love, both of us really like that scene when Wraith was breaking into Fury's castle basically and freed all of the other Wraiths so that they could escape her. That was very
I don't
sad and wholesome.
It was sad because they're like, yeah, now they just go back into the void and do their little wraith things. I'm like, oh, like, I hope they're all well.
Yeah, because they
Like,
don't have like a corporeal form like Wraith does. They're all spirits, basically.
yeah, who can be called into a corporeal form, but they can't hold it.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, I hope they live great, fulfilled lives, whatever they do. Maybe we'll get to see them again. I
I
don't
hope
know.
so. Oh my God, that I didn't even
Maybe
think about
not.
that, but yeah, it's kind of sad.
It is. It is sad, but also happy. So some things that we maybe didn't love. This is a good point. I did want to spend more time at the circus.
Yeah.
I did think it was going to be more based at the circus and like the comings and goings of stuff there. And we did get some background on it at the very, very beginning, but as soon as they left with Ray, like as soon as she left with Wraith, like that was kind of it. I don't
Yeah,
know. Like it's such vibes.
it was vibes and I wanted to be there longer. The next thing that I didn't love, and this is like a me thing because I know a lot of people do love this trope, but I'm not a big fan of insta love. I did love like, the spice right away. I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with, but like they immediately were like, "Oh no,
He was
like
like,
our
how do
souls
you
are
know?
connected."
Like when you love someone, I'm like,
Like after
oh.
they fucked like once or twice, he was like, "Am I in
After we
love?"
hit the fifth chapter of them, like
It's
boning,
like that
like,
butterfly meme. Like, is
is
this
this
love?
love?
I didn't love that. But I did kind of understand because pretty much they were destined to be together. So like they're I don't know. I just wanted a little more like will they, won't they before they like fully committed to it.
Yeah, for sure. Which I mean, I guess that's why a lot of authors do have like really slow burn stories,
hmm
because it does build up that tension, but also like
But
my like that was instant gratification.
yes, true. And like the physical connection immediately,
Yeah.
I'm totally down with. But I will say this also kind of like matches that vibe that I was talking about where it's kind of like that more of like a folklore thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not like focused on like the build up to like it's
Sure.
just like and this happened and this happened and this happened and it just like walks you through the story. You know what I mean?
And all chapters of them fucking.
Yeah,
That was
there's
included in the campfire story.
yeah, why would they not talk about that?
Yeah.
That's the best part.
This is actually written by Justinian Neilwort.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
a pervert.
um, no, and kind of piggybacking off of that, like I personally don't love like the pregnancy trope, and I do love that she waited till kind of the end to
hmm
include that because Wraith and Harrow really did want families since they both don't have them, and Harrow lost hers when she was very, very young.
Yeah.
And it was foreshadowed that that was
hmm
going to happen. It
Yeah.
just like it was almost instantly she was pregnant. Like
Yeah, and it's just not our favorite
it's not my
thing.
cup of tea, but I know a lot of people do like to have that closure when they read. One other thing that I just didn't really care for, and I think it was just maybe the way it was worded. Um, a lot of the time, like when they were talking about Wraith's like lack of memories or like his inability to be able to like communicate in certain ways, like they would compare him to like an innocent child. And I don't know why, but like they said it so many times that they were almost getting at it like he was childlike in nature.
hmm
But then we had like all these pretty like graphic like sexual scenes, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But then he did not act like a child in those, I
Yeah.
tell you what. So,
But
yeah.
like they kept like just like saying like he had the mindset, like
hmm
I'm like, I don't know, like
Yeah. I,
I didn't love that.
I agree. I just think, yeah, it was just
I think I
rubbing me
just
the wrong
read it
way.
the wrong way, maybe. I don't think that's how it was intended.
Oh, for sure. No, I agree. I just think like that's just again,
like saying
the
it
way that
once
we
or
took it.
twice, like for sure. Like, yeah, he can't talk, he doesn't have memories, like it's all very new to him. So in that sense, like saying that maybe he has like that innocence, but just comparing it to a child, I think is what
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I didn't love.
I agree. And kind of the last thing that just wasn't my favorite is like by the time, like, I don't know if it was just like I was getting kind of tired by the end of the book, but I just like kind of hated that they basically had to leave Wraith with Daria for like months to like fix him, for like break him from this vow of like wanting to
And
murder
she's
Harrow.
like, yeah, because it's like she's trekked across the desert searching for him
Yeah.
to find him at Fury's.
And she's
He-
just like hoping he'll show
Yeah,
up.
he tries to kill her. She sends him to Daria, or Daria comes and snatches him away, spirits him away as a favor to Harrow.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like Harrow's just kind of wandering
Yeah.
in her caravan.
She's
like,
just like, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to like show up in this spot. Because like basically when Fury freed him the first time, he showed up in the desert, like in this like neutral territory or
Yeah.
something. Like I don't even know. Like I can't remember. It's been a minute since I read this book. But I don't know. I just wasn't like super vibing with it. And then them just like living in the desert
in the
together.
caravan with their child.
Yeah. I was
Do
like,
they
this is weird.
eventually go back to the circus though?
Do they?
So yeah, they weren't like wandering the desert forever. Eventually they do go back to the circus. And I wish we could have seen a little bit about their life like there afterwards,
Yeah.
but it was an epilogue. So like it did wrap up really nice and you know, naming her baby Melora, that was really cute after her
Yeah.
mama.
Yeah. Depressing, but
So it does end super, super well. It just that
Yeah.
little bit there at the end, like with like we're not really sure what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little confusing for me.
Yeah, and I just like felt, I don't know, I just felt kind of like taken out of it. And then also, I really did, I was glad for their reunion, obviously. Like, I wanted them to be together again, but like,
She was pissed at him, like,
yeah, they were, and then like, he didn't have memories of her, obviously.
but then all of a sudden he does remember.
I think she like allowed him to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a minute since I read the book, but I just wasn't like super vibing with like the
last
almost
bit
part of the
there,
end.
yeah.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, neither here nor there because the book overall, obviously, we
Was
liked
super,
it.
super good. We're going to continue reading the rest of the ones that she
Oh yeah, I'm super excited for
puts
book
out.
2.
I need to know what
I
happens
need
with Micah and
Malika.
Aurora.
Yeah. Oh my God, I need more of him. But yeah, that wraps up Sanctuary of the Shadow. It's not that long of a book. It's again, the physical copy is beautiful. So if nothing else, just buy it to look gorgeous on your shelf. But it's also a good read.
And so yeah, support Aurora. She's putting out some good stuff here. You can read some of her other things by going to her website. She has a list of all of them. But join us next week for an installment of Poetry Corner featuring Amanda Gorman. Very excited to be viewing some of her work. She's our poet laureate. What was the 2020 inauguration?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It has been. It's crazy because like it feels like just yesterday, but yeah, I mean it's been
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Crazy, crazy.
But yeah, we're excited to do another installment of Poetry Corner in general too, because we haven't done one in a while. And then the week after that, we will be discussing People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry.
We are so excited.
You know we love
Miss
Emily.
Emily.
So yeah, go ahead, get started on that book. We'll talk to you next time. And as always,
Let's get lit.